Hi everyone, welcome to Scary Cool, the podcast about what's cool, what's not, and all the scary stuff in between, which is basically just what I want to talk about that week, because this is my podcast, and I could do whatever I want, and I could talk about whatever I want, and it all depends on the way the wind is blowing. Today I have a very special guest. Introduce yourself, special guest.
Hey everybody, I'm Emma.
I put a sound effect in there that's like a crowd, like a stadium going crazy.
No, like literally intercut somebody just like running down the stadium stairs. Yeah, hi guys. I guess I'm the first guest.
You're not only the first guest. Oh god. I start choking immediately. You're not only the first guest, it's the first episode. So you're
honestly,
double homicide.
I thought you had like filmed an episode already. This is gonna be the first one.
No, this is gonna be the first one because every time I try to film an episode without a guest, it turns into me just saying like the most insane, non-cohesive things ever, and I fear that someone's gonna have me committed if I post that publicly. So
I don't think I'm gonna help that though.
Yeah, but if there's two of us, it's like folie à deux. It's like a thing. So I
we go together.
Yeah, so I feel like even if we get committed, it's like I have stuff wrong with me. It's
the way this is gonna be like the tamest conversation, and everybody's gonna be like, they're just girls who think they're crazy.
Yeah, that is true though. And I've noticed that the older I get, I'm like, I feel like I'm still so kooky, and then I'll be like, I'm shopping at Ann Taylor Loft. I don't think I'm that kooky crazy. But I did want to say that we are recording, filming, and all of the above this episode, and I'm gonna put a bunch of links of how you can help people affected by the California wildfires in the description. Please go check. I'm gonna put all types of resources, whether you're nearby, whether you're far. There's all different types of ways you can get involved and help, and so it would mean a lot, no matter who's listening, if you checked out the description and see what you can do. So just gonna put that out there.
Yep, I'll send you some links. I have a lot of local organizations out there.
Oh, awesome.
Shout out to all my family and friends that are out in California. I love you so much.
Yes.
I hope you guys are staying safe. I love you.
Yeah, hopefully by the time I'm posting this that it's a little bit more contained than it has been, because it's really scary. But if sometimes you feel so small you feel like you can't help, but we can, because a bunch of little things make a big impact. So I'm going to put those resources in the description. Thank you for sending. I have a few that I have bookmarked that I've given to and I feel like are really great, but yeah, that'll be in the description. But anyway, I know I sort of touched on what the pod is about when I was like, anything I want, but I do want to stress that the idea of Scary Cool came to me because I love to gab, and I love to gab to anyone about anything, and sometimes you find out so many cool things that people are into that you would have never really thought, and through that conversation you realize like, hey, I'm kind of interested in that too. And like me and Emma met in college.
Yeah,
film majors.
Literally the last semester of senior year we became friends during the pandemic.
Yeah, she was my pandemic bestie.
Yeah. And it was just one of those things where we were like, why were we not friends earlier? Because like we know our paths crossed beforehand. And we both lived in Jersey, like, and then we both lived very close to each other in New York City. Yeah. We literally same major,
same everything, many classes together, I'm sure. And we were just like, no, not for me.
Like February 2020, I'm like, hey.
Yeah, when everyone like fled New York City and me and Emma were the only people left, it was like, hey girl. But I love her to death, and now how many years later, 5 or 6, we're like,
I mean, we're rolling up to 5, which is crazy.
Girl, now she's still bestie number 1. But I learning, like talking like with Emma, like we found out we have a lot in common, and she's into like so many of the same things that I'm into, and I meet so many people and they tell me all about these really cool things that they're into, and I just want to continue to have on guests where we can talk about a topic they feel passionate about. We can all learn something, or we can all just sort of have an outlet, because if they ban TikTok in 10 days, I am going to...
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm going to have extreme actions. So, you know what? It's just good to have some sort of creative outlet.
I literally have to like read.
I just sent you into AFib with that. I'm so sorry.
It's like, no, it's so true, because I mean, funny enough, I mean, we filmed an attempt of an episode.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, 5 months.
Oh my God, the way you're outing me is such a procrastinator.
No, well, here's the thing, and I think this is kind of what we're going to talk about in the episode of like 2024 to 2025, creativity, all of that. Really, it wasn't procrastinating. Like, we shot 2 episodes, but we didn't have proper gear. And then, you know, like, you got Miss Wonderful Mooney. Like,
I did adopt Mooney, who's been taking literally 24/7 of my time.
Right. And like a lot of life happened, but like you still were working towards like a creative endeavor. Like, you know what I mean?
Thank you, my queen. And I'm very lucky, and I will say this, I work with such amazing people that I got so many wonderful and thoughtful Christmas gifts that I was able to buy all of this podcasting equipment with the people who gave me lovely like Amazon gift cards and, you know, like Visa gift cards. Like, I just have the best coworkers and friends, and I sponsored by them, I guess, because I was able to like finally buy all of this podcast equipment. And something else, which I guess we'll talk more about in this episode, is I know we had recorded like a temp episode 4 months ago, hit the edit room floor and never saw the light of day again.
And now we're going to say it word for word.
Yeah, and now we'll input that right here. That'll be on a separate link. That'll be episode number 4. But I always found a reason to sort of put it off. Like, right now I'm in the middle of moving, which is so much fun. I love that. And my apartment
Your eyes twitching.
I love it. My apartment is all packed up, so I'm at my parents' house, and like there's just always a reason to be like, no, I don't have like everything set up the way I want. No, I don't have this or that or whatever. And you just have to really like look at yourself and be like, it's never gonna be perfect. Like, just do it, and do it imperfectly, and do it anyway, and just start. Everyone has to start. So that's what we're doing today. And thank you, Emma, for coming again, because
obviously.
Also and Mooney loves Emma, because Mooney's known Emma since I got her. So
I basically imprinted on her, like Jacob.
No, actually.
Although we were always Team Edward in my house.
So was I.
Okay, good.
I never read the books, but I saw the
Neither
movies.
did I.
And I was always, the tall, sickly one.
Yeah.
More my type than the jacked one to this day. So that
what
makes
if
sense.
we like disagreed and it was like our first argument on camera?
I thought that we were gonna have like, I thought you were gonna ghost me that time that I told you that Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice was doing something for me. And then she didn't answer me for about 3 minutes.
seconds.
And I was like, are you there? Like, I genuinely was like, she's gone. She doesn't.
No, I literally was like popping popcorn in the microwave. I'm like, oh, 2 minutes is fine. And you're like, do you still love me? And I'm like, oh my God.
I was like, I'm being really vulnerable. Please answer. Please answer. She was like, girl, I don't care. I was like, you know what? True. But anyway, this is what I mean by all the scary stuff in between. Are you attracted to Beetlejuice? Sound off in the comments. But we wanted to talk today. We're going to do all types of... Emma's going to be a guest many times, I can tell you that. And I did try to talk her in. I was like, just be the co-host. And she was like, no, I don't want that.
That was something in my journey of my life right now that I could not commit.
Her healing journey.
But that's okay, because I mean, everything is evolving. Yeah. And maybe when I'm in a different headspace,
period,
I can contribute more.
You're always welcome on the I tell her that all the time. I'm like, you're always welcome. And I know we'll talk about many other things on many other episodes.
I love talking, and we are voice memo girlies to each other. So like when I tell you there are some days when like we should just get on the phone, because it's 10-minute voice memos back and forth to each other. It's like sickening. Like,
yeah. And you know what? I'm never going to pick up that phone. I'm just going to record the voice memo. And the best is when it deletes it before sending. And then we'll get a voice note that's like, I just recorded a 10-minute voice note and my phone deleted it. So now I'm doing it all again.
Silencing us.
Were you silenced or were you silent? But anyway, on today's... I love that we're 10 minutes in. I haven't even said what we're talking about today. Yeah. Yes! Yay! For the 3 people still with us.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, that probably sounded so horrible in this mic.
ASMR. I'm literally like, I'm already parched.
I choked immediately after like saying one thing. I was like,
you're like scary.
But anyway, today we're going to talk about sort of transitioning from 2024 into 2025, and I think just all of the manifestations and goals we have, and things that we sort of want to do better with, and things we've learned in our years being alive. I'm not saying my age on the internet, 28, but the things that we've learned maybe in our 20s, and things that we want to share. And I think it kind of stemmed from when I was talking to Emma about imposter syndrome and how every once in a while she has me in a chokehold, that I really do feel like the biggest fraud this side of the Mason-Dixon.
No, like literally
I do.
Every day I wake up and I'm like, I'm gonna get fired.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like genuine, it's not something I want to feel. And I feel like especially hard, like, as a creative person, because I think that was a big thing in 2024 for both of us, where we're like getting back in touch with our creative sides.
Yeah.
In so many different ways. And I think I realized with that, I was like, oh my God, like, I do just need to wake up every day and be scared, because I'm gonna do it anyway, so I may as well go do what I like to do.
And that's true. And that is sort of the only, I don't want to say positive thing, because there's not many positive things happening in the world right now, unfortunately. But I remember having this conversation where it was like, when I was in high school or even college, the thought was always your safety and then like your almost unrealistic or like really big goal. And I feel that now they've blended to a place where there is no such thing as a safety in job, life, love, or whatever venue you want to find it in. And so thinking back on that, I feel like I might as well just go for the big dream that's just as risky as this other dream that maybe a generation before me would deem safer or more realistic, because nowadays there really isn't anything realistic or safe about most things in most ways of life.
Like, we didn't go to college to be like doctors. Like,
no.
Like, I remember in high school, I guess just to tell a little backstory about me and my creativity, if I may.
Circle time.
I mean, like, throughout my entire life, like, I did community theater, and then in high school, I like loved doing acting classes and acting, but it was never like, for college, it was like, well, you're not going to school for acting because that's not safe.
Mm-hmm.
But then I ended up going to school for like TV and communications, because like even in my head I was like, that's the safer option to learn like the behind the scenes. Like, there's so many jobs, like there's so many like people who work on like a show, like totally. Of course that's the safer option. Now, being out of school for so long, and I've been very lucky that I've been able to work in the industry and work in TV in post-production, it's not safe at like, it's not. No. It was never the safe choice, but it is something that I love. And like every time, so like at least how I've been in TV, it's based on like, you work by contract, so usually it's like a season of a show, and if if the show doesn't get renewed, like, and there's not another project that the company has you on, like, you're done there. You've got to find another job. And so I have had like lulls in between, and every time I go do something else, I'm like, oh my God, to get back. Like, I want to get back, even though I'm not necessarily in the most creative role in post-production. I do like more post-management. Every time I'm out of it, I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah. It's so irritating how much I like it that I'm like, I have to go back. Like, I have to go back and do it. I guess that's like what a passion is. It's crazy.
I know, but it's funny because I feel I have a very similar path, as we know. Theater nerd, theater kid.
We would have been diabolical. 12-year-old us would be diabolical.
It would scare people if
Rachel Berry to the extreme. Like, I was so
same. I was such a gleek. It was disgusting.
I'm looking right to the camera. I still am a gleek.
Hi, Ryan Murphy. Thank you so much. Yeah, there would have been many a call to 911 made about our behavior. But I was a theater kid. I loved musical theater so much. I still do. And I, again, like, when I went to college, it was like not even a thought that I was going to go for musical theater. It was like, no.
Was it more like that's my hobby?
Because it's not safe. Yeah, it's not safe. It's not something that you need a degree in, technically. And it's a lot of money. Bachelor's degrees are a lot of money. Like, do you really want to put all that money into something that really has such a chance of not paying off, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it? So I didn't. I went for the same thing Emma went for. We were like TV, film, communications, and all that jazz. But I also thought, well, if I learn like sort of the technical way behind things, it'll open up more doors, because I've only ever been in front of the camera. I don't even know how to turn on a camera. So maybe that'll be at least an education that I get that is worth something, because it will teach me things that I do not know.
Right.
And of course then like television, TV, like enter AI and like streaming and all of these crazy things, which I'm gonna actually make an episode about AI and streaming and why all of this is the way that it is. So stay tuned for that. But it was really a safe choice in my head that turned out to not be safe, because I believe safety doesn't exist anymore. But it did highlight for me the fact of how important it is to have the creative outlet, because I feel sort of the same way, where it's twofold. Like with my job, I'm always like, oh, the one thing I said I never wanted to do was produce. Like when we were in school, I was like, I can't stand it. It's so much pressure. So like too much rides on your shoulders. I don't like how fast paced it is. I don't like this, that, and the other. And of course, that's what I fell into. And now I am a producer. And there's a part of me that's always so afraid because there's so much pressure on it. But then when I'm not in it and I'm not really busy and I'm not just like in that go, go, go mode, I miss it. And it leaves like, and I am a person who likes to take control and take the reins of things, even though I'd like to believe I'm not. I'd like to think that I'm like a little fawn in the woods who's like really sweet and cute and like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I need someone to lead, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm literally like the Hulk. Like I am so like a dominant personality of I need to take control and do things, so that fits in well. But on the other end of that, when I was doing musical theater and all of those types of things, I loved it all the way around. Like I never really had moments where I was like, oh my God, I can't take this. And then I'd leave or a contract would end and I'd be like, oh, I miss it. I felt like in it, out of it, no matter what was happening around it, I was like, I love this. I was made for this. I like never feel better. And that was sort of highlighted when I saw the Wicked movie.
I feel like for a week straight, every night she's like watching Wicked again.
I watched it, like no lie, like 8 or 9 times because I rented it on Amazon and I was like, I'm getting my money's worth. And all I did was watch it over and over and over again. It was so good. We'll talk about that later.
That literally could be a whole separate episode,
and it might
and
have
it
to
probably
be.
will.
It might have
when
to
part
be.
2 comes out, because we need to see part 2 together. I saw it the first one like opening night by myself, just like crying in the theater, and I was like, I literally need like, and I wasn't okay. Side tangent with Wicked, like I really wasn't expecting to get emotional.
You weren't expecting to get emotional at Wicked?
Well, because here's the thing. I usually, like, especially in the movie theaters, like, and this has been a change for me in the last year as well. Maybe it's the frontal lobe developing. I've always been an empathetic and, like, emotional person. Feel like in the last year, the emotions have been even, like, higher. Like, I used to never cry, like, watching a movie. And maybe, like, after the fact, like, once I thought about it, but, like, in the theaters, very rarely would, like, a tear roll down my cheek. That has changed. And so like when I was Defying Gravity's happening, I'm like literally tears are just streaming down my face. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I need an emotional support person, so we're going to
enter me.
Yeah,
who will also be sobbing
because
just
for
in the
good,
seat next
like
to you.
I'm not gonna be okay.
No.
Like I'm not gonna be okay.
I cried so oh my God, I cried so much. It was so good. And then I've been the most annoying person ever because I'm just like singing The Wizard and I every day, or like the same line of like whatever song over and over again, because they're just so catchy. But I
think that's something like in that, I mean, I experience this a lot when I go to the movies, and it's like why I like still love working in the industry. It's like, even because there have definitely been a lot of times in the last few years that I've been like, is it worth it? Like, do I go find a safer job, and safer in the sense of like one that provides like cheap insurance and like PTO, and like that I know that
we don't know her,
right, and that like, you know, that I'm not just like working for 8 months and then like hoping that another like show pops up, and then like I literally will go see a movie in the theaters, and every time the credits roll and I'm like, God damn it, like I'm literally sitting in the chair like mad. I'm like mad at myself.
You're like that's art.
No, like literally I was like, I get so frustrated, and I have to wait, and I see like who's the post supervisor, who's the post coordinator, and I'm like, I can't leave. Like I get so frustrated. But I think this year or 2024, I think I've just like embraced it. Like I feel like one day I woke up and I was like, all right, bitch, we're doing this. Like it literally was like a light switch moment where I was like, oh, like these things don't just have to be like a hobby, or even if they are hobbies, like I'm gonna get back into them. I'm gonna be the 18-year-old me again.
They could still be fulfilling in a different way. Does it?
Right.
I feel like we have this negative connotation with the word hobby because we live in this like capitalist hell where everything has to bring you.
You have to make
money,
money, please,
like, money, please, cash, money. Isn't that a Fred song? Whoa. We'll ignore that. But it has literally made, when you're like, this is a hobby, the minute someone turns to me and is like, are you going to monetize? You could sell that. I'm like, no,
literally.
Like, leave me alone. I'm not going to sell or make money off of every single thing in my life. Like, it doesn't need to do that to be something of value.
Right.
There's other value that things can have besides monetary value. And like, that's a really excellent point of like why hobbies are important to have, because if life is just like work, go to bed, work, go to bed,
which I mean during the weekdays
it is
like
that is life.
Work 10-hour days, like I mean in like TV and film, like
the hours are long.
People are always like 50 hours, like standard on set is 12 hours a day, offset usually 10 hours a day. Like having an 8-hour day is like rare because it's not the industry standard, which I think they should change it, because I think after a certain while you are not as productive. But like besides the point,
100%,
like at least, you know, last year when I had that like switch, I was like, wait, like why don't I go back to acting classes? They have adult acting classes, and I went back to the company that I was at when I was in high school, and I was like, it was so weird because I felt like once I got into once I graduated college, and obviously there's a pandemic and like so many things happening, like it just felt like it was a past life. And then I was like, oh, it doesn't need to be a past life. Like that could be right now. It could be right now. And like the scariest thing to do was to sign up for the class, but then I did it, and I freaking love it. Like it's the first step is the scariest, and
it really is.
It shouldn't. It like.
It's
something
so
that excites
scary.
you so much is so scary. Like I remember shaking like my first class, and I was like, I'm going back to people that like I love. Like I had my old teachers, and I was like, there's nothing to be scared about.
And even if you are afraid, like that's the other thing that annoys me is like fear is a normal emotion to have when you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And it's so difficult to not let it stop you from continuing forward, because I could speak only for myself. The fear becomes so great, and then I spiral into like, what if this happens? What if that happens? And I talk myself out of doing so many things.
All the time. For me, all the time.
And you really have to make peace with the fact that you're going to be afraid. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. You're not just going to walk into something and be like, I feel fine, I feel numb, I feel like totally...
I wish. Because...
But at the same time, that fear normally drives you to... like do a little bit better, try a little harder. Like there's good aspects to the fear, not just the negative of like, oh my god, I can't do this. There's that fear that kind of then turns into adrenaline that makes you want to really prove it to yourself or prove it to whoever, and really strive and work hard and do it and work through that, even just for the fact to say that you did it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's something that I'm trying to bring into 2025 of like trying to live in the present, trying to coexist with like the negative feelings that happen, because like anxiety disorder girlies like rise because I rise but like, you know, the days, like as much as I joke of like, yeah, every day I wake up scared, like that's not a good feeling to have, but it also is so exhausting to fight against all the time. So I am just trying to wake up every day and just like accept in some way that like the fear may be there, the anxiety may be there, but like that's okay. Like that is just like part of it is literally just like who I am as a human being.
Yeah.
Like since cut to my preschool progress report being like, Emma's really hard on herself if she doesn't do everything perfectly. Like, you know, take everything out in the world. Like if that's just who I am as a person, like I really am taking like the rest of my 20s and obviously the rest of my life, but like to like live like copacetically with that. I don't know if that's the right word, but like to just live with it and like just be okay with who I am, basically. And also and be creative while I'm doing it.
Yeah,
because like that's
Yeah, because waiting for that to pass, you'll be waiting a very long time.
Baby, I'm gonna be dust.
Yeah.
My dust is still gonna have anxiety.
Because dust is what we conceal. Okay, we're good. I had to do it. But yeah, I agree. And that sort of goes into what I was... Sorry, that's my headphone thing making that really weird. No one is farting. It's literally just this weird... My headphone thing is making noise. It is what it is. But that sort of goes into what...
This is not comfortable.
I was gonna say,
let me try this way. Let me try this
into
way.
the most uncomfortable.
Let me try this because there's a table right here.
Do you want to move it?
No.
Okay, because it's holding the equipment.
Yeah,
so.
no, it's holding equipment in my Diet Coke. It's an important table.
Yeah, the DC table.
Yeah.
She is the third member of this pod. She's really doing a lot. But it kind of goes into what I said with even recording this episode today in this like corner of my room at my parents' house, like. Because there's always a reason to not do something. It's like, if I wait for the timing to be perfect and all the stars to align, I will be 80-something years old doing this podcast. Like, it's never going to happen. I have to just be like, you know what?
And even then, there's something.
And
we won't be able to hear each other.
No.
We're just yelling.
My hearing aids will be in the other room.
I'm blind.
My dentures will be out. Yeah, you're blind. Like, it'll be a whole... Mooney's clone will be, like, just, like, doing something with the mics. But, you really have to, and it sounds so stupid, and I hate saying it because it seems like such an obvious thing to know.
Everybody prepare yourself. I don't know what you're about to say.
And I'm going to get sued by Nike.
Just
do it. You really,
no.
When you think about it, that's real. Like, you have to just do it. Like, shut up, stop making excuses, and just do the thing you want. And guess what? Don't be afraid to fail, because that's my big thing. I'm always also
I hate
the shame monster that like lives in my head. That's like, everyone's gonna laugh at you. It's like, why would I care? First of all, no, they're not. Second of all, if people want to laugh at me, they're gonna find a reason to do that, regardless of how careful I think I'm being with like the image I'm procuring or the decisions I'm making. Because it's so difficult, especially as a woman. It's like you are judged by everything you do. So knowing that. You tend to, or I can't speak. Well, I'm actually going to speak for you and me because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
You tend to then be like, make yourself more palatable. Let me make myself a little bit smaller, a little bit toned down, a little bit, just a little bit different so that I'm more acceptable to the large mass of people. And you kind of have this moment where you step back and it's like, who even am I anymore? Like all these weird things about myself or these personality traits that I've muted for so long to make myself tolerable.
Right.
And I've erased the special things.
Like who you are.
Yeah.
It made me laugh because I was just like,
She's thinking of like a vocal stim that I do. And she's like, yeah, you're really palatable.
No, but it made me think of like, even something like, I think I say we. It's definitely social media, because if you find your right group of people and even the right community on social media, like you'll feel celebrated and loved for who you are.
That's true.
Like even something as like dumb as like, not actually, why am I saying that? Oh my god.
You're self-reading. Like, don't do that.
So like my Instagram caption is like, yeah, I'm a Disney adult, sue me.
Period.
And I used to have like this bit of shame because like I enjoy going to Disney, and I was like, you know what? Like if it's the one thing that gives me joy, like
in this hellscape that we live in,
why would I be ashamed of that? And like, why would I be ashamed that I like to research the hotels and research the parks and to know the little tidbits? Like it's something like I've always been something. And another great obsession, which was another failed episode from us, was a Titanic episode.
Oh yeah,
that was like one of my special interests growing up as a kid.
Period.
And like I feel like with a lot of things, like even that I felt like, oh, this isn't like a past life. I used to be like, I feel like in my late teens, early 20s, I was like embarrassed about that fact of me, and I'm like, no, guys, I was a Titanic kid. I was an extreme couponer at 12. Like I did all these like really crazy weird things, but it's like who I am as a person. And I'm like it shaped me.
So it makes me different than every other person that's like walking down the street. Like, and I love, and I
it's so quirky.
Yeah, and I try to think about how for other people, I love their quirks. Like, all my friends have quirks, and I'm like, oh my god, I love her because of that, because it's so funny, it's so unique, it's so cute, it's so like lovable. And then it's like, why can't I extend that same joy and love and acceptance to myself? Like, you're also a freak in the best way possible, because I was a freaky, like, we're all freaky children in some way, but I was like, I loved musical theater. I remember I had like a birthday party when I was like 6 years old, and the guy because I'm gonna age myself, but the guy was like, you can bring your own CDs, we'll play them like in the loudspeaker. And I told my mom, like, bring my Phantom of the Opera CD. And my mom was like, no, because you're 6 and all these other kids don't want that. And it's like, true, real. But like that, I will say that openly of like, I love listening to like musicals in my apartment. I love like watching supercuts of Patti LuPone on YouTube by myself.
Yeah.
Like just things that bring me joy. Like there is nothing that someone could laugh at me for that I feel like at this point I'd be like, oh my God, that really like hurt me. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So you thought that was...
It's like, I feel like there's always like that initial pang.
Yeah.
But then it's like, you know what? It's like...
Once you dissect of like, why do I care about that person's opinion about me? Like, it really does change your life. And I've been through a big thing of my 2024 was realizing what relationships were serving me and which ones were not. And like really looking at, you know, why do I feel a certain way when I like hang out with certain people? And like, what about this friendship is, you know, making me feel anxious or this or that? And really understanding that maybe I don't need this in my life, or maybe I'm not very receptive to this kind of person. And it's been wonderful to be able to be like, I'm releasing that and I'm just choosing to not, because I think we're really, and maybe it's a woman thing, maybe it's just a society thing, really ingrained of like, you have to be nice to everyone and friends with everyone and this and that. And you realize you actually don't. You can choose to not be friends with people who don't make you feel good about yourself, or for whatever reason, you can choose to walk away, and no one has to be mean or vicious or a bully. You could just decide like, this doesn't really serve me, and you know, for whatever reason, I'm gonna go in that direction, and you go yours, and that's totally cool too.
Yeah, well, we're going in the same direction.
Well, we're handcuffed to each other, so we don't really have a choice.
But no, it's so true, because like, I mean, friendships, like, they do ebb and flow, and I think that was a 2024 thing for me as well, of like, just accepting the ebbs and the flows, and like appreciating them. Like, you know, I think the friendships that I have were like, you know, there's some people I talk to every day, a la you, and then there are other people that like sometimes I don't talk to them for like a few weeks, but then when I talk with them, it's like no time is left.
No, absolutely.
Because I mean, if you think with like phones and stuff, like, I don't think we were supposed to be talking to like 10 people a day all at once. Like, you know, and I feel like sometimes there is that like expectation, or like fear of the expectation of like, oh my gosh, I have to like be on top with like everybody in every group and everything. And it's like, just like learning the ebbs and flows, and also just like being open with people. Like, God, when one of us is having a bad night, I'm like, hey, I need to be alone to go scream in my pillow. Like, I'll talk to you in a few days. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just really being open and honest with the people that you love.
Because once again, you don't want to have that feeling of like, oh, let me make myself palatable and just answer and be nice and you know, whatever, because it'll look bad if I don't. Like, no, you can just say like, I'm not in the mood right now, like I'll call you when I'm like feeling a little bit better. And you know, everyone can be adult enough to be like, okay, cool. I really appreciate when people do that, because I do it now, because it's like, I don't need to like spiral into like, oh my God, like, was that response right? Yeah, now people are mad at me because I'm not responding.
Like, I just like putting that hard line of like, good or bad, of like, yeah, like, I'm gonna go do this thing, like, I'll see you later. Like, again, like, just being open with people. And I think having that mindset has allowed to like bring it full circle, like bringing it back to like our creative outlets. I think just like not being quiet, even in like any aspect of our life, and just like being out there and like vocalizing what we want to do, even if it's just to each other, like it makes it real. It's no longer like, oh, like, I want to do this one day. It's like, no, like, I want to do this one day, and I'm letting you know too, so like, it's not just this thought in my head. It's not an abstract thing, it's a tangible thing. Like, I've said it, I've put it out there, and like, this is now like, this whole thing is like tangible now, like, literally. And that's, I think, goes back to like, it can connect in so many ways to what we're saying about surrounding yourself with people who support you. Because I know for Emma, and I just told her this the other day, I was like, God, every time I tell you like a goal or something that I want to do, you're so supportive. Like, it makes her become like one of the first people that I want to text when I'm like, oh my gosh, I should try this thing or this creative there, or I want to reach for this goal. Like,
she pops into my head of like, I should tell Emma about this, because she's always accepting and supportive, and she puts the best vibes out. And that in turn makes me want to continue on and do those new things, because I feel like, oh my God, like people believe in me and people want to see me do well. And it's because I surround myself with friends like Emma. Aww. That like, you know, I feel like we really do a good job of like building each other up with that. Like she wanted to dive back into acting, and I was like, that's amazing. I love that idea. Like, I support 100%. And then she had like a super creative year where she was like doing a lot of writing and going back into acting.
I wrote, like, and because I was looking back, because I was like, oh, you know, I didn't do as much as I wanted to do last year, because I was like reflecting on like our 2024 goals we had on with each other. Yeah. And I was like, I wrote the first draft of my book. Like, I think I have to like take, like, I don't allow myself wins like that. Yeah. I'm like, girl, you wrote like 60,000 words. Like that. I'm
gonna be your kindergarten teacher. I'm gonna say Emma's really hard on herself. And some things have not changed.
No, like and that was something I was like reflecting on like New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I was like, and I did that in like 2 weeks. Like it was because, you know, I did have this lull in between TV contracts where I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna spend and all this time to do all the creative things I want to do, and I'm gonna get them all done. And then I was like, okay, well, no good book gets done in 2 weeks. A, right. And then B, I like got a job to like support myself, and I was like, okay, if that's taking the front seat, you know, for the rest of the year, like, so be it. Like, so be it. Like, you have like building good foundations, and even like with the podcast, like, you know, like, yeah, we did the trial run in September, and then, you know, some weeks pass. Okay, like it's life. Like, you know, we have to support ourselves. We don't have, you know, unlimited funds and time to go do it. But like, I think we made a lot of big strides with the time and energy that we had in 2024. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because we made goals together last 2023 to 2024 of like, and I was looking through and I'm like, oh, you know, like I didn't write the short films that I said, or like, again, I was very vague. I was like, creative endeavors with Chessie. Like, yeah, like, it could, like, well, I don't even know what that meant. And I was like, we did do it, though. And, you know, just because it's not a freaking Oscar winner, like,
there's other ways to deem something successful rather than being like, okay, finished, you know, pens down, pencils down.
Like, I've always hated, and it's because not wanting to be a failure, I've always hated rough drafts.
Oh, me too.
Because
I can't.
It has to be perfect on the first try for me.
I know.
And it's been a journey to realize like anything good is not
many drafts. It takes many tries.
I could never understand when my teachers were like, the first draft shouldn't be good. I'm like, what do you mean? Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
I'm like, I'm writing as if this is written in stone and cannot be erased. I'm writing the word of the prophet.
It's like, being broadcast to the United States of America.
It's coming straight from whoever's upstairs to you. Yeah. Like through my pen. Like,
I'm 7.
No, actually, I'm in 1st grade. But I do relate to that. And I think that's a big part of doing it through the fear is also like, it's not accepting the fact of it's not going to be perfect. And I saw this thing that I shared with you a few days ago that was like, learn while doing. Just learn through it. Like, continue to do it, and you'll continue learning, and you'll get better and better. And no one starts off the top of their field in anything. It's always an entryway point, and then you just, you know, you discover new things, and you change, and life changes you, and you learn new tricks, and you get better and better at all of the things that you want to do, or the things that, you know, you're trying to achieve, and you'll slowly climb that. I hate to use the word ladder because it reminds me of like a corporate ladder, and I'm like, ew. But you'll climb, and I don't want to say rope because it reminds me of gym class in like 4th grade when I couldn't climb the rope.
Me getting to the first knot and being like, oh, okay.
I would like jump on it like a spider monkey and then just immediately
and then just stay
go.
there.
Yeah.
And kids in my school were literally climbing up the rope.
Yeah.
With their legs down, not using the knots. And if they got to do that, they would sign like the beam at the top. And I was like, okay, well, first off, I'm scared of heights. Second off, I can't lift my body weight.
Literally, first of all, I'm 5'7" and I'm in 1st grade, no, so like, I'm not doing that.
I told someone a few days ago I was 4'6" when I was in kindergarten, and they got so like that is one of my favorite fun facts because I grew like a freak as a kid. Same. I was 5 foot by 8, and then I was like 5'7" by 12, and then I stopped growing. My mom was the exact same way, but like. And I happened to, so I went to a really, really small Catholic school. So there was only like 8 girls in my entire grade.
and like maybe 12 boys, entire grade, like the 7th grade.
Yeah,
like,
no, I mean my school closed because we didn't have enough kids.
I don't know how mine is still kicking, but she's there. But they happen to also all be like very short. Like I was in like for some reason the girls were all like they were like 2 feet.
I'm up there.
And I vividly remember all the memories of every photographer for like class pictures being like to the back, to the back, and I would be the
focal point. I would be like the center back.
They literally like would think I was like a teacher. They'd be like, I remember one time we had an evacuation drill and I was walking like in the thing or whatever, and some like substitute was like, you have to be walking like ahead of your kids, and I was like, I'm a kid. I'm in this class. I don't
get how people are like that.
I still look like a child. Right. I was just tall.
That's the thing. Like when I was like 12, 13, people were like, oh, I thought you'd look you were 18. I look back at photos of myself and I'm like,
you belong in prison.
Like, you know, like
no, like I'm sorry, but we need their social security number.
No, like literally, like I'm scared. Like you thought I looked 18.
Yeah, likely story. I'm sure they're on the Citizen app under a certain registry at this very moment, because that is a wild thing to say.
Right.
You looked older. I looked like a 4-year-old on stilts.
No,
and I'm sure if I said one word to you, you would know that I am a child, because I was stupid. Like I'm sure if I opened my mouth and you said anything to me, my answer would be a quote from SpongeBob, and that should have also filled in the holes that's a child.
Were you a pleasure to have in class?
I was a pleasure to have in class up until like junior year of high school, and then I got all the like sassy awards because for some reason that's like when my brain clicked and I was like truly the most non-self-aware. Like I could care less, and I want to go back to her because she had it really easy. I didn't care. You couldn't tell me anything. I was the most self-confident little BICTH.
I wish.
Oh, I was doing whatever I wanted, saying what, like not mean, but just saying whatever I thought. I remember I won the Big Mouth Award.
Of course you did.
I won the Big Mouth Award in my English class. And the teacher tried to make it like not a diss. She was like, because this person always speaks their mind, even, you know, when they don't raise their hand. No, this was public school. I transferred to public.
Okay.
They couldn't handle me at Catholic high school. I was, girl, they don't want you to flourish. So I transferred to the public school, and I was really feeling myself. I got the Big Mouth Award, and then everyone ever would be like, oh, great. Like, I remember this one teacher was like, oh, I heard, you know, you said so-and-so in this person's class, because I guess, like, the teachers were, like, talking about me to each other because I was annoying. And I'd be like, yeah, I did say that. Yeah. And then, like, I'll never forget, one time I got into, like, not an argument, but, like, a heated discussion with my sociology teacher, because my thing is I would like to get them off topic because I didn't want to talk about sociology. So I started I've always loved Jack Black. He's like my don't laugh.
No, I know where this is heading.
He's my celebrity crush. I love him. I just think he's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, I always support your celebrity crushes.
Yeah,
him and Michael Keaton.
I love them. I'm sorry. Willem Dafoe, Jeff Goldblum. Mm-hmm. Ooh, 50 and above. We're looking really. I think I do have a type. But I like got into an argument. I don't know how I got it up, but we like were arguing about the attractiveness of Jack Black. And then it's
like that episode of The Office with Hilary Swank.
Yeah, is she hot? Yeah, that was me with Jack Black. And I got a text at like 5:00 that night from my friend who was in a different class, and she goes, "I heard you argue that Jack Black was hot today, and Mr. Whoever supported you, and half the class was against you." And I remember being like, that did happen, yeah. Like, and what else did you hear? Like, because word got around, because that's what my whole sociology class turned into, was half the class being like, he's not attractive, and me being like, yes, he is. And then my teacher was like, he is attractive. And I was like, period. He gets it. Anyway.
And see how we just got totally off topic on that?
Yeah, for a second, it just
You're like
turned
back in
into
high
a
school.
stream of consciousness. Yeah, because you know what? I'm channeling that girl again, just to be like, just do whatever. Like, sorry that Jeff Goldblum is delicious, okay? I don't make the rules. I say it out loud.
Yeah.
We're all thinking it.
No, like 100%.
Willem Dafoe, we tried to watch Poor Things together. First of all, brought us closer. Second of all, uncomfortably close. I finished it without it. She was like, I'm going home.
Yeah.
She didn't want to watch anymore. I finished it.
I was like, oh my god, my train's coming. That's crazy.
She was like, oh my god, I actually have to go right now. After the third scene of everyone being naked. She was like, I actually have to go. I
actually still have not finished that movie.
I finished it. Bella Baxter, we love you. You're a queen in this house. But Willem Dafoe in that movie, I was like, you know what? Willem Dafoe, hear me out. And you know what? I stand by that too. I don't care.
Yeah. Like,
we'll make that'll be the next episode.
Like a Bay list.
Yeah.
We used to make those, me and my roommates. I've not made one in a very long time.
It's like a game of MASH.
Yeah, basically.
You're gonna have 89 kids and be married to Willem Dafoe.
Where are you living?
Me in kindergarten, I'd be like, hell yeah. I'm living in Malibu with Willem Dafoe. And I drive a 1989 Mercedes C-Class. I know 7-year-old me would be like, that sounds about right.
No, like when you would get like the shack in MASH, and I'd be like, no.
I would like
I genuinely would get like so upset. I'm like, no, I want the mansion.
They'd be like, you only had sons. I would be like, no, check it again. Like, that's not true.
Right.
Like,
you make like $30,000 a year. I'm like crying. Even at 7 years old, I knew that was not a good number.
It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough at 7, and it's not enough now. # living wage. That is so real. Oh my god, I'm gonna make one of those. The like triangle game things.
I never learned how to make one of those.
Oh, I can't make one either. I thought you would.
No. Okay, so our next creative endeavor is gonna. What are they called?
I don't know.
You go like that.
If you're not watching this on YouTube and you're listening, you have no idea what we're doing with our hands.
Boop, boop. I'm like, that's gonna. Like I'm like a boop and a boop and a bop.
When you go like pick a number and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's like the little triangles go different ways.
And it opens up and it's usually like you're gonna live a long life or something.
Yeah.
But like we're gonna. Well, I don't know the name of it.
I don't know what it's called. It's not MASH, right?
And we're not gonna Google it because we're gonna like live in the moment.
No, because we're not AI. We don't care. Is
AI about to take my job soon? Probably.
It's braver to be wrong and say it loud than to use AI and be correct. And you could coin that.
That's my next tattoo.
Aw. We'll get matching podcast tattoos.
Adventures with Chessie and Emma, matching fucked up tattoos.
I actually feel like that's really camp to have a tattoo that's spelled wrong on purpose.
No, I can't do it.
I almost got a Jesus Christ Superstar tattoo. And then I was like, I have to come down from this manic episode.
I feel like if you're going to get a tattoo, like, and it's going to be, like, musical theater themed, it has to be Phantom of the Opera.
Well, exactly. But there's, like, no good thing to, like, get. Because it's all, like, I'm not getting a mask. I'm not getting a rose.
Look at the chandelier.
Yeah, I just got a giant
on your fucking bicep.
My whole back is just a chandelier, like a life size.
I'm sorry, if you're gonna have to bleep out my cursing.
I put explicit content in the thing.
Okay, because I was like really good at not cursing, and then it just happens.
No, I knew. That's why I checked off the little box for, does this contain explicit content? I was like, yeah, it probably will. Yeah. This is the first time I'm recording a podcast visually.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to be very uncomfortable watching this back because my hands have been doing all sorts of things.
Well, we're Italian. I basically have been sitting on my hands because...
I should have been. Every once in a while, get like a glance of my hand in the...
Jump scare.
Yeah, and I'm like, what am I doing? I really have to calm down. I just like am very, she knows.
The thing is, like, I mean, we're doing the visual, but I'm curious to see if anybody's actually going to, like, watch it because because even like if I'm watching something on YouTube, it's always in the background. I'm never sitting there and I'm watching a podcast.
No, I know, like that is boring,
right?
Like, I'm sorry, but that's a little bit of wild behavior to be like, I'm just watching these two people
having a conversation. Like, listen to it
wherever you get podcasts. But yeah, the YouTube is mostly going to be, this is heads up to Emma and the listener, hi, vlogs and like behind the scenes and all types of...
I used to be a Disney vlogger. If we're gonna talk about lore. Yeah, I mean,
is it still up?
Yeah.
Plug it.
I actually don't. I think it's just like Emma Rose Disney or something like that. I have not.
I'm gonna put it in the description.
I haven't uploaded something in 5 years, but I do love to go back. That was something. I mean, again, we're gonna circle back to the topic of creativity of like, I used to do that and I loved it, but then as soon as I was like, well, I have to do it to then get monetized to make money, I immediately lost passion for it. And then there were times that I felt like I had to go to Disney to film stuff, and I'm like, I did not have a big enough audience
to justify it.
But I was like, oh, surely the next video is gonna get views, surely the next video like is gonna get big. And now I am so thankful that I never became like a Disney vlogger. 2016 Disney vlogging is different than now. I think it's like, the whole influencer stuff is different now. I am so glad I had like a very small, like little niche under 1,000 sub community, but like I still follow some of the people. I still talk to some of them, like, you know, internet weird parasocial relationship, but like, but that was like nice, the perfect level of like creativity. But then as soon as I was like, I have to monetize, I was like, wait, why am I going on so-called vacations and like feeling like and have to work?
Like, cut the cameras.
No, like literally cut the cameras, and that's why I haven't done it in 5 years.
And you know what? That is a really healthy mentality to have. Like, I'm proud that you're able to be like, to recognize it and be like, I'm not falling into this, because as much as like, that's why I started this pod, because I miss the creative outlet. I used to pod a lot like in the pandemic, and it's just fun to have this thing. Like, do I need 40,000 people listening to every episode? No, not really. I mean, I just like to build up a little bit of a community. It was fun seeing my old show and people's Spotify Wrapped. Like, it's just nice to have that little like, oh, people like want to know my opinion on something. Like, that's cute. You make some friends. But has the thought slipped in of like, oh my God, what if I like totally blow up and then I'm making, I don't know, 12K a month, like some of these which is probably chump change to influencers now, but like to me that would be like, whoa,
like, only 12 grand.
Yeah, they're like, flop.
But like, oh, she's going downhill.
Her last video flopped, only had 2 million views. Meanwhile, my TikTok gets like 150 views, and I'm like, I'm viral. That's crazy. But the thought has come into my brain of like, oh, where can I bring this work? And I really have to stop myself and be like, I just miss having the outlet. Just the fact that I'm like, have something that's for me, that's not my job, because I that was one of my things that I a little bit regretted about 2024, is I felt like I really gave a lot of myself to like work, which is good in one aspect, but then I felt like I'd go out with people and they'd be like, so what's new? And I didn't have anything to say because we just had nothing. I just worked. Like,
no, like literally both of us. I had that like 2-week creative stint, but other than that, I was working like 2 or 3 jobs, and it'd be like, hey, I'm working again.
Just working. Like, that's all I ever do is like just work, and then I like scroll Facebook Marketplace. I snuggle with moons, and then I'm like, bet. So I was like, that cannot happen again in 2025. Like, I refuse to let that happen. So my goal is to be more just creative, just enjoy and have something that's mine. So I could be like, oh, I podcasted this weekend, or I put up a little vlog and this and that, and just like did something that was for me, because it's nice to eat. Because like I said, jobs and things, like, they come and go. So to base your entire life or your worth off of something like that is not healthy and not good. So, you know, I would instead love to be like, no matter what happens with the things I can't control, the thing that is in my control, like this podcast and my YouTube channel, like, can be whatever I want it to be. That does fall to me, because that's another thing about 2025 that's a little scary, is it feels like everything's out of control. And from big things to little things, I'm like, I have lost control of the plot. Like, things are really crazy and messy, and it's like having something that you feel a little bit in control of, at least for me, helps me to not spiral as much, because it's like, okay, I can still do this is in my control, and I can to a certain degree handle what comes with it, or what goes in it and what comes out of it. So, well, I will because I said that, I'm marking my like, I was like, I don't care what happens to it, this episode will have 4 million views. We'll go on Good Morning America. Ellen will come back to television just to have me on. And that'll be it. And then you'll see me at the Emmys. That's the trajectory of
and if that doesn't happen,
haven't thought that
crazy.
What do you mean that doesn't happen?
Truly, 2025 for me is about trying to be present and take it day by day. Like, and I mean, because like having family and friends out in California right now, like me trying to comfort them, I'm like, take it hour by hour, but like genuinely, because I cannot believe we're filming this January 10th, January 11th. the first 11 days of 2025 have felt like 4 years.
Yeah, I know. And it's really horrible.
I know it's going to feel like that for definitely a little bit longer. But blink twice if you know what we mean. But like really just trying to be present. And yeah, like there are so many things. Like literally I would say 99% of the things that I worry about are out of my control.
Yeah.
But
very much.
There is this like amazing accomplishment and feeling of controlling the 1% that I can, and I want it to be positive things. So like,
yeah,
you know, again, the last few days have been so tough, and I've not stuck to the. I started a morning routine and a night routine. I was really feeling myself for the first like week, and I know like habits take a few weeks.
Yeah.
But then even just being kind to myself, of being like, okay, yeah, well, your sister is in like between 5 fires, like. Allow yourself to not be stressed that you're not doing your morning routine.
Yeah, that
like,
you didn't put your eye patches on, you lazy
like,
slut.
Oh.
You're like, I'm going through a thing.
Yeah, like, and it's so, like, you know, not as an excuse to, like, not, you know, kind of push yourself out of your comfort zone and, like, you know, do adapt those habits and do, like, you know, the goals that you have. But, like, part of 2025 is to also just be kinder to myself. Like, I mean, we've like touched on it, but like, you know, with that anxiety and with those negative feelings, like it's so easy to be so hard on yourself, especially as like a type A person. And it's like, if I can wake up every day or like even throughout the day, if I can just have moments where I'm like, even if I have a negative thought, to be like, oh, you know what, like let me not think of, why am I saying that to myself?
Yeah,
like,
would I say that to a friend of mine?
Right.
No,
I would never.
Then I shouldn't say it to myself.
I'm like,
that's
you
a
stupid
pretty
bitch.
good,
like,
pretty good rule to live by.
I'm like, oh my god, you're being so mean to
like
yourself.
Like if my friend came to me and was like, I'm really anxious today, would my answer to Emma be like, why, you stupid bitch? There's nothing to be anxious about. Like you just want attention, you dramatic whore.
No, like literally.
No. So I'm not gonna say that to me myself.
Right. And I literally say that to myself like every day.
No,
but
so
that's something to like, you know, it really is like to put conscious effort in. And I felt like 2024 was a great year. Mooney's like knocked out.
Yeah.
2024 was a great year, I feel like, in kickstarting the creativity. And 2025 is just like to keep it going.
Yeah.
I want to do like the second draft of my book, you know, keep learning how to edit, you know, maybe figure out how to use the Zoom thing again, you know, keep podcasting. Yeah. Like, you know, have more creative sessions together, but like just keep it rolling, but not make it like a gun to my head sort of situation.
Yeah, because for once, the stakes are not life and death. And for so many other aspects of life, they feel like they are always life and death. And I feel like I'm being hunted for sport all the time. Yeah. And it's like, this is the one aspect where you're not in that frame of mind. You don't have to be perfect. The sky is not going to come crashing down if I upload this episode and it flops. Like, who cares?
And what even is like flopping? Like, I'm so excited. Flop. Like, I am literally so excited for like my mom and my sister and some of my other friends to like hopefully listen to this. I watch them like, well, I mean, obviously some are you better, but like, you know, I'm just so excited for them to like hear like I really don't care if nobody else does. And like Emma a few years ago, even a few months ago, there was a part of me that was like, oh my god, like what if like I'm gonna be on this podcast and like what if it does well, what if it doesn't, like what does that even mean? It means nothing.
That's a good point.
We're having a great time. We're gonna get dinner and drinkies after this, like we're just gabbing in like our element. I
feel like a venue to be authentic and to just have a nice conversation with a friend or a guest and whoever comes on here. And again, where you can like just let your guard down for a minute and just like enjoy and have fun. And if people listening can have a laugh or relate to something or learn something, it's just an added bonus. And, you know, I do want to say, if people want to like suggest ideas for episodes or have something you want us, or me if Emma's not here, to talk about, you could email scarycoolpodcast@gmail.com. You could follow us on Instagram. I'm going to say us because you're standing here and you're a part of this. You're a part of this team.
I've been along on the journey so far, and like even just like you getting like the podcast art done, like every step is so exciting, and again, another thing of 2025 is enjoying the journey, baby. Because sometimes you get to the destination, you're like, okay, that was cool, but then you look back
you just,
and you're like,
don't
oh
even enjoy the reaping of the reward because you were so like, get there, and then you're like, oh, like, oh my god, I like never took a second just to be like, oh my god, look what I'm doing. So that's a good point. Like, just all the steps that go into it. It's just a nice little breath to be like, there's no deadline. I'm not like strapped to something. I don't have some $4 million deal with, Spotify or whatever, where it's like, if you don't upload content, we're gonna sue you. It's like, girl,
we have nothing. Like it's
girl,
fine.
I dare you. I have no assets.
Like, it's fine.
Yeah, like it's we're all okay, and it's more to build the community, and it's more to have the outlet. So follow us on Instagram, Scary Cool Podcast. Obviously, we're not on Twitter for obvious reasons. And I'm
never on.
I'm gonna call it Twitter because I'm not calling it the other name. But we're not there. You can follow us on Threads. You can follow on YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube and email us. My email's always open if you want a certain topic talked about. But
yeah, especially if you guys, just to butt in real quick, if you guys are interested in going to school in New York City, going to school for film and TV. Or communications, because it's like, I mean, we went to film school, but it wasn't like NYU, like, you know what I don't know, I feel like that is like a whole different, to going to like a smaller school for that, and also then being in the industry, and
I have to say, like, I was fortunate to have a really good college experience because I transferred to our school from a different school, and I will say I am very fortunate because I'm in the room with a lot of people who went to the really fancy schmancy expensive schools, and ours, I guess, was not considered one of the fancy schmancy whatevers.
Not, I think, for our major, for
no,
like dance and
stuff. For maybe more like theater arts
stuff.
But I'm in the same room with all those people, so it doesn't matter how you get there, you just get there. And my favorite saying, and I've said this to many, many people, is if I don't see a door, I create one. And that's a lot of the reason I got the job that I have right now, is because my old podcast that I used to host got me in the door, because it was so difficult to find work during the pandemic, and I really threw myself into that and created my own experience and my own sort of accolades to put on a resume to get a job, and that really helped me. And every interviewer always asks me, like, something about you or what's different about you, and that's what I love to say, is like, if I don't see an opening, I'm gonna just create one. And that's, I think, what everyone should live by, is like, if you want to do something and you don't know how, or you can't get in, or someone won't open that door for you, just make your own little window and go through that. Because waiting for permission or waiting for people to put you in a certain place or allow you certain things, you'll be waiting a very long time. You have to just put yourself there and carve out your own spot there. And that's hopefully what I'm also doing with this show, is, what, I want to be more creative. I want to be more fulfilled in many ways, and this, that, and the other. And you know what? I'm not going to sit around and wait for someone else to give me that permission. I'm going to just give myself permission and do it, independently. But this was a wonderful discussion, and I so appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm like,
anytime.
I love the mics. I love the setup. Like, I honestly, like, the few times I like would look at the camera, I'm like, oh my god, wait, whoa, we're like I forget it's there. But I think that's a really good thing. Like, it's very easy to have conversations, and I hope that people can relate. 2025, for myself in my bubble right now, I'm excited to get creating and to keep the forward trajectory that I had in 2024, whether that's a really fast trajectory, slow, whatever. Again, taking it day by day, but I'm excited to see what happens. And I've really enjoyed talking, and we're going to continue this conversation, obviously, after.
Oh, a dirty martini hates to see me coming.
Yeah, I'm an espresso martini gal. You're the dirty martini gal.
Espresso. I like the espresso martinis, but I don't need any more energy or trouble sleeping. I'm like, they do nothing. They're just delicious to me. Oh my god, I'm up all night, and I'll be in bed being like, why am I like wide awake? And then I'm like, oh, the espresso martini I chugged maybe didn't help that. But do you have anything you want to plug before we sign off? any social media, any projects, anything?
You know what? I don't have. Well, I'll leave my Instagram handle down below if anybody wants to watch it. But can I do a quick manifestation of something I want for 2025?
Yes, please.
Because it made me think when you're talking about the pandemic and how hard it was to find jobs. I would really like to work on some sort of short film or something to get into a film festival and have the full film festival experience, because we had some award-winning films happen in 2020 and we missed that in-person carpet situation. And I would love to experience that, and I would love to experience it with you. So I think we should my goal is to work on something like that. Got a camera now.
I would love.
We got the Zoom. I mean,
we have the equipment. I got mics. I got SD cards. I got, what do you want? I'm like a guy in a van. I'm like, I got SD cards.
Yeah.
I have everything. I would love nothing more, because I really would like to be able to experience the reward for all the hard work. Yeah. So that would be really, really nice. So that is like 2025. It's a good goal. Want to work on that if we're going to be like specific. But yeah, so putting that out in the universe. Yeah. And let's go 2025. Yeah, the way I can't even pretend to be like, yeah.
No, I know.
I'm so scared.
Am I like, do I have like existential dread inside?
Yeah,
but that's okay.
Terrified, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. We have each other.
A lot of us are. I think everybody is. That's okay.
Period.
That's okay, because we just gotta help each other.
That's why we're building this community, because you know what? I want everyone to have a little outlet. And also, if they ban the Clock app, you can find me on YouTube. We'll all be in this together. We'll all find community.
Everyone sit down with your Diet Cokes and we'll have a chat.
Period. That's a requirement. Get a Diet Coke and a snack and come listen. But thank you so much for listening. Yay. I will have more episodes coming out soon. It's going to be a little bit, like, bear with me at first, because like I said,
gotta get the ball rolling.
I have to get the ball rolling, and work takes a lot of my time, and moving and all this stuff. So I don't want to commit to like every week a new episode, because that's never going to happen. But I hope that you enjoy the first episode. We're going to be a little not on a schedule at first. I'm just going to upload when I can, and then hopefully we'll find a better way of doing this. But thank you so much.
Miss Moody like just woke up. She's like, you guys are done.
Good morning. She knows, like, if you start like wrapping something up, she's like, that's my cue to get up and be crazy. What time is it? Does she have to? Oh, it's 5:00. It's almost dinner time for her, so she's like, she's ready. But thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. Illy, love you. Ooh, that probably sounded bad, but sorry. I'm tongue clicking. Follow us on all the things, and check out Emma. All the links will be in the description, and please, in the description, like, if you can give anything or donate anything for the wildfires right now in California, it's much appreciated. And I'll catch you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.